And he always ends, because he always ends his newscast on an inspirational note that makes you feel like there's hope for the future and for our world. And this project, with what has been done by these extraordinary nonprofit groups that serve people who want to play tennis, as well as, more importantly, our young people, are an extraordinary example of what's inspirational about our city. I'm not a tennis player, and as some of you know, I'm not crazy about tennis. I like golf. But when I received a call from the San Francisco Tennis Club membership that said, we're about to get wiped out because a developer has bought our city block and has told us that we are to move and find another place. Now try to find another place where you can have 12 indoor courts and all of the facilities that are encompassed in that extraordinary place down there on Brannan Street. So it really meant the end of this club and the some 1,500, 2,000 people, whatever, who belong to it, and all that comes from it. And they asked me to come and give them some help in responding to this ultimatum that they had to leave, and their club was, for all intents and purposes, dead. So I told them what to do and how to do it, which was a very fundamental process in this city. I said, you're going to get a petition, because they couldn't get City Hall to pay as much attention as they needed. So we went to the people of San Francisco, the citizenry in every neighborhood. And they went with petitions, stood on the corners, just like a wannabe politician does, except they were asking the San Franciscans to save their tennis club. And San Francisco did. They signed the petitions, which gave the club membership and their executive committee a leverage, a power that put them on the same scale as this big multi-billion-dollar developer from out of town, LA, as a matter of fact. And so for the first time, they sat down and said, okay, we'll talk to you. Whereas for the previous year, they had ignored all attempts to talk to them. So they sat down, and over about 4 or 5 days, led by an extraordinarily brilliant executive committee. As a matter of fact, if I had that executive committee that was led by Seth Sokolow and Trish Weaver-Moss and Betty Yee and a number of other folks, if I had them working for me when I was in mayor, so I'd still be mayor. That's how good they were, because they negotiated a deal with this developer, first of a kind in this city. They said, first of all, we want to be right here in the same facility, and you can build what you want above. That was point number one. Number two, we want you to give something back to the city that helped us get to this table. So the tennis club and the executive committee didn't just take their success and run. They wanted to give back to the city that supported them, to the citizenry in every part of the city. And that's why, to date, some $860,000 has been spent renovating these courts all over the city. Some 8 or 9 now, with a couple more, 11. Looking like this, from the marina to McLaren Park and places in between, and there's more to come. Because this membership that now calls themselves San Franciscans for Recreation and Sports and Recreation. Too long, we got to shorten that. But nevertheless, they are continuing to say thank you 3 years later to the people of San Francisco for supporting them by giving back in the form we see today.